it's going to be extremely difficult for what we call the climate realist position to make much headway, given how limited are our opportunities to even be heard in the media. That's why meetings like this are hopefully the beginning of a greater sense of tolerance of dissenting viewpoints. You know, it's very, very sad from my perspective that on a whole range of public policy issues in Canada today, there's no tolerance for dissent of progressive views. Ultimately, I am a bit more optimistic, though, because as far as I'm concerned, both in terms of the science and the economics, there are certain breakers that are eventually going to be set off. There's this widening gap between actual temperature changes and the ones that are predicted in the models. And if that keeps on going wider and wider and wider, ultimately that has to undercut the storyline that's coming from the alarmists. If the price of basic energy services continue to rise, and if there is basically forced scarcity, if governments start to deprive Canadians, Americans, people of the world of the services that they need to have in order to continue improving their standard of living, there's got to be a political pushback against that. I worked say, on these issues in public policy and for many years, and many of us kind of had a cynical comment, which was that there's no political downside to promising to reduce emissions, only to actually doing so. And I think that cynical viewpoint continues to prevail, but ultimately it has to press up against the public's resistance.